With me. And welcome to the My Amazon Guy PPC AMA. Today I will be joined by Mina Elias. He's running a few minutes late, but please get your questions in the meantime. Our podcast happens every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So please make sure you're joining. We have a different PPC specialist on the podcast every single week. So you get a wide range of different questions and, different explanations too, based on, some people use all automation, some people don't use automation at all, some people do a half and half. So we've been getting a lot of interesting takes on the last few podcasts, which you can watch at the My Amazon Guy YouTube channel. We have all of the past lives archived, so you can watch them anytime you want to. So a little bit about Mina, and I'll let him introduce himself as well when he joins. So he is the owner and founder of Trivium Group, which I assume a lot of people are familiar with. He's all over social media, and that's a partial in-house advertising team for Amazon PPC. So it looks like he's joining.
Sorry.
All good. All good.
I like to live life on the edge, clearly.
I know. I noticed.
Awesome.
I'm limited on the edge with you, so that's okay.
Very cool, very cool. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great. Excited for today's Ask Me Anything. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Where
Have
are
you
you
been
joining
live
from
the
today?
last 10 minutes?
No, I've only been
No.
live for about a minute. So the
Okay.
countdown starts like 10 minutes
Yes.
before, and then it goes live. So
Okay. Amazing, amazing. I'm
yeah,
excited. Do we have a
yeah,
lot of questions?
yeah. It
Uh,
looks like we do. We have quite a few. Did you want to just give a quick little overview of Trivium and kind of introduce yourself a little bit?
Of course, of course. So, Stephen Pope and I are very good friends. My name is Mina Elias. I've been in the space since 2018. My background's in chemical engineering and chemistry. Graduated with bachelor's, master's. Worked in the corporate world. Hated corporate. Turns out I wasn't really. I didn't really like being an engineer. So I decided to start a supplement brand, and that's when my journey into Amazon began because I decided I wanted to get it on Amazon because everyone else rejected me, all the stores and the supplement stores and the gyms and stuff like that. And so I got really good at Amazon, scaled my brand to $1 million. It's still live. It's called MMA Nutrition. It's now no longer a priority, but in 2021 I started my agency. There was a very high demand for me to help others with their advertising and with their general kind of managing their Amazon, all of the little stuff. Even nowadays, like I have brands come to us that are D2C and want to expand to Amazon, and they have no idea. It's like there's so much hoops you have to jump through. So we started in 2021, and now we are about 78 people on the team. We manage about 140 brands, and we're basically an in-house team, like a division that you hire for Amazon. We run your ads. We give you optimizations like that you can improve your images and things like that. We help with SEO. We do DSP, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just trying to share as much information and findings and experience as possible, because when I started it was very, very difficult for me because there wasn't anything out there. I don't think even Stephen Pope was putting out content like that. And so for me, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put out everything that I've learned and just share my experience and exactly how I succeeded, so that people can take that and they can succeed in their businesses too.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Thank you for that little intro. So we
Awesome.
have some hellos. So hello from Ideas with Mina. We have a LinkedIn hello.
Love it.
Yeah, love some interaction. I think this is going to be a good show today. All right. First question from Tian. So when should I hire a PPC agent? I spend like $3,000 to $4,000 every month. ACoS is about 47%. Will PPC agency help me get more profit?
Okay, so here's the way that I would look at it. You want to hire the best person that you can find, but like what you can afford. And so If you're spending $3,000 to $4,000 a month, doesn't matter. What's your revenue? Let's say your revenue is $20,000 a month, and your net profit is, $4,000 a month. So that's where you're like, okay, your net profit is what you can work with. I would always expect even a good PPC agency or a good PPC manager or whatever will maybe increase you by 5 to 10% every single month. And there's going to be some months where your profit is going to drop so that your revenue can go up, and then your profit's going to get a little bit higher. And so you ask yourself, um, number one, if I hand off my PPC, what else can I do right now in that time that's going to get me money fast? And so let's say, like, you want to work with us, or you want to work with Steven, my Amazon guy, and it's $2,500 a month. So it's like, if you give us the ads to run and it costs $2,500 a month, how quickly can you get your profit back up by 2,500? Not just from the PPC agency, but from your work as well. So if we're gonna work on PPC, and we're gonna grow your traffic by 10% a month, and that's should add approximately like $500 a month in more profit. It's gonna take 5 months. But what if you focused on improving your main image, getting more reviews, and then you can increase by another 10 or 15% a month? And so now within 1 to 2 months, you're breaking even on the cost of the agency, and you're scaling. You definitely want to go with a good agency. It's much better to go with someone good that's more expensive than to go with someone that's less expensive, not as good, because at the end of the day, you can end up, I mean, I've made the mistake in the past where I ended up wasting money going with someone less expensive. And this applies to pretty much every single role out there. Like every role that I've come across, you end up kind of spending a little bit less. They're not as good. You're hurt in the long term, and so just paying a little bit more, $1,000 more, you just have to think, like, will this very experienced person or agency get us that difference? So that's the way that I would think about it. I mean, like, when I think about, okay, when is the right time for Trivium to hire a Google Ads agency, for example, something like that. That's the way that I would think about it too.
Yeah, definitely. You want to be giving yourself more time, to delegate, to elevate yourself. And, the agency is supposed to provide peace of mind. And that's, largely what we do here at My Amazon Guy. And I'm sure also at Trivium. So
awesome. Yeah.
And then how best to see the organic search terms that were typed in when a sale was made via an organic placement, and how do you compare the search query performance report to your PPC keywords to discover new search terms?
Okay, Jeffrey, this is very, very, very difficult. I'll answer the second part, because I'll tell you how I use the search query performance report. So what I do is I download the search term report, the search query performance report, and my Cerebro results, okay, or keyword tracker, whatever. And then usually I just do like a reverse ASIN lookup, and I download that data. And sometimes, because Helium 10 provides historic data, you can also look at, like, you can download the Helium 10 historic data, and you can put like a few sponsored sponsored positions and organic positions for those keywords. So then I'm looking at, like, okay, here's all my search terms, here's how much money I'm spending on them, here's their ACoS, here's their here's their conversion rate, here's their click-through rate. So I have the advertising metrics. Then I look at what is their sponsored and organic rank, and then finally I look at what is the impression share, click share, add to cart share, and purchase share. And then I'm trying to identify which keywords do I have a good conversion share and low impression share on, that I'm not spending that much money. They have good click-through rate, good conversion rate. The ad spend is only $100 in the last 30 days. How can we get that to $500? How can we bump up that impression share? And then I'll, download the reports again and compare. You can always do like a historic comparison of your search query performance report and see, because you're not going to do it for all keywords. You're going to say, okay, here's my 5 target keywords. Let me check every single week how my impression share has been getting, right? That's the way that I would go about using the search query performance report. Now, if there's something on the search query performance report, again, that has good conversion share or even good click share, because we're looking for leads, but it doesn't have a good impression share, those are keywords that I'm going to start targeting with PPC. Just get a little bit of traction, and then I can see the full, impression share, click share, add to cart share, and conversion share. And if I start noticing that my impression share is growing, but my conversion share is decreasing, because, for example, people that are coming into that listing from that coming into my listing from that keyword, maybe this listing is not really optimized for that keyword, or they're looking for something slightly different. That's, I will know that because I can see the trending. It is a little bit of more manual work, but if you have a data entry person, this should be pretty easy to accomplish, and you can find a good data entry person for like $600 or $700 a month. And then how to best see the organic search term that was typed when a sale was made via an organic placement? I think it's impossible. Not only because, some people will say, well, you can take the search query performance report and you can take, the PPC reports, but all of these reports, we're not 100% sure about them. What if they're all wrong? What if Amazon's not putting the accurate, correct data in there? There's no way to tell. We know that ACoS is not accurate anyways. So if the ACoS is not accurate, what's letting us know that someone typed in a keyword, clicked on your organic, clicked on a different keyword, sponsored, and then converted? We don't really know the entire path of this person. And so I wouldn't obsess about finding the right organic search terms. You can use the search query performance report to identify all of the search terms that people are finding you with, and you can use PPC to bring more people through those search terms, but that's all you can control. So I would just focus on what I can control.
I think that's good advice. And if it's a new key term, you have the option of just including it in your alt text, or just organically, so you don't have to put it into PPC right away. I think that's probably the cleanest way to keep it organic versus sponsored. But obviously, you want to make sure you're using or your organic keywords eventually into your PPC, especially if they're doing well and you're showing up for them.
Exactly.
Okay, and then so what do you consider to be a good click-through rate for video ads in the supplement category? Do you expect CTR for videos to be higher than the CTR for your keyword campaigns?
Yes. So that's actually my gauge. If I'm going to keep a video campaign, it's only because its CTR is significantly better than regular sponsored products. And I would say over 0.5% is what I would consider good. Again, take this with a grain of salt. This is just kind of a reference point. But if your CTR right now is 0.2 on your sponsor products, you want a 0.3, 4, 5 on the video. If you're a 0.5 on the sponsor product, you want a 0.89 and 1% on the video. The higher, the better. If you can get granular, and so if you're targeting a certain keyword, then your video can have those keywords pop up multiple times. Especially at the beginning, that those are things that are going to help your click-through rate for the video. Now, be very careful, because there is the possibility where people click on your sponsored product ad and then click on your sponsored video ad. You get charged twice, and it's the same session, and essentially all you've done is spend more and not generate that much additional revenue. And so what I would do is have no video ads running, or if you have video ads running, that's fine. Go to one keyword at a time. Look at your sponsored rank and look at your organic rank. If those are high and you have a video ad running, test dropping the video ad slowly. Look at your ad spend, watch it drop, and look at your total sales, your total sales, right? Not sales for that keyword or whatever. If that doesn't drop, you know that you're wasting some money there. And then vice versa. If you're launching video campaigns, don't go aggressive. Pick 2 keywords. You're like, okay, I feel like I should have video campaigns here. The way that I do it is I say, okay, I have very low organic and sponsored rank on those keywords. Let me try a video that is very specific to that keyword, see if I can get better. And then from there, I'm gonna launch a video campaign, and I'm gonna track, okay, I had 0 in video campaign ad spend. Now I have 100. My total sales were $1,000 a day. Now they're what? They're 1,200, 1,300, and there needs to be a consistent gap. If it's they're still in the regular random range between 900 and 1,100, that's not good enough. I just spent $100 more for no reason. And so that's the way that I would look at video ads.
Yeah. Do you find that video ads tend to do better across most categories for most clients, or
No. No,
no?
video ads don't do that well. Video ads only do decent for us for like branded, because they protect the brand name.
Yeah.
But overall, video ads have been pretty weak. I mean, we only allocate 10% of our budget to sponsored brand, because we've just seen like sponsored products way blows out sponsored video out the water, and also DSP is better than sponsored video. So yeah, that's just what we've seen, and it's not what we see in Campaign Manager, because your video return on ad spend and ACoS and Campaign Manager is going to be amazing. 15% ACoS, like 8x ROAS, 7x ROAS. But when you measure the total lift of how much money you spent more on video, how much money total sales you've gotten, you'll notice that I mean, test it. If it works for you, great. Maybe you're in that category, and that product is a very video product. For me, the only thing that I've seen work a little bit good, and not consistently, is let's go into the search query performance report. Let's find these keywords. We have low and organic and sponsored rank. Let's hit a video with the keywords in the video, and we have our video editor. It's like one video, and the video editor just changes the words. And so there's one for each keyword, and then we've seen that work okay. DSP has worked better. PPC sponsored products, just keyword and product targeting is the best.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have a two-part question. So my product price is $5.99, but CPC on my main and other keywords is between 1.5 to 2.3. I'm getting one order after every 4 clicks, but due to high cost per click, ACoS is not getting lower. Solution. And then the other part of that is if I lowered the cost per click, then the ad is not showing on top and I'm not getting sales. Sponsored brand display campaign is also very high in terms of cost per click. Please suggest a solution. So I'll go back to the first part.
Yeah. I mean, this is very clear to me. If your cost per click is $1.50 and you're getting one order after every 4 clicks, you're paying $6 in your product. I'm assuming your sale price is also $6. You just need a better conversion rate, and you need more organic ranking. So better conversion rate is going to mean that you're going to go from that 4 click to maybe 3 clicks equals 1 sale. You'll have a very low price point. Conversion rate should, hypothetically be better as your price is lower. And so if you can get that 4 to a 3, then you're already at 450. But then if you can double, have like equal sessions coming from PPC and organic, then for that same ad spend, and instead of it being $4.50 cost of acquisition, it'll drop to $2.25, because you're having the same amount of PPC equals organic. You can do that obviously by ranking better through spending a little bit more money, but conversion rate is going to be your biggest lever that you can pull right here. So more reviews, better main image, better listing images, probably the biggest things you can pull. Your price is already very low.
Yeah, definitely. And then from Nawal, how to change the rest of the search placement bid? Is it doable since it doesn't give us the option to change it manually?
How to change the rest of search, but you can't. Because rest of search means from not the top of the search to the page 100. So you can't, like, you know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean? So when I do 50% top of search bid by placement, I'm saying I'm willing to spend 50% more on my bid to show up on the top of the search. Let's say you put 50% rest of search. What are you saying? You're saying I'm going to pay 50% more to show up in every other position in the whole search? It doesn't make any sense. So it doesn't exist. And it doesn't exist for a reason. It doesn't make any sense. The thing is, if you're showing up on the top of the search, lower the bid, and then you'll show up lower in the search, and then you'll start seeing that you're showing up more in the rest of the search than you are on the top of the search.
Yeah. And then this is kind of a broad one. How do we do budgeting in PPC? So I know everybody's like number one question is always like, how much do I spend on PPC, right? I get that here. I'm sure you get that at Trivium.
Yeah.
How do you kind of advise on this?
Perfect. It's a reverse engineering. So you set your goal and you say, okay, I have 100 reviews right now. Competitors in my that have similar products are doing 500 units in sales or whatever. Like let's say like $10,000 in sales in that same range. So that's my goal. So $10,000 in sales. Sorry. Uh, Let me do not disturb. Did you hear that?
Yeah, we can pretend we didn't. It's okay.
Okay. Sorry. I just put do not disturb so no one calls me. Um, all right. So 10,000 and you're like, okay, what's going to be a reasonable tacos for me right now? And this is going to be obviously a factor of your conversion rate. And so if you're at your current conversion rate, your tacos is, let's say, 5x. So if you want to hit that $10,000 in revenue, you need to spend $2,000. And usually as you try to hit more, your ROAS will drop a little bit before it increases. And so that's the way that I would budget. I would say, okay, I'm trying to hit 10,000. I need at least $2,000 in ad spend budget. I should probably budget $3,000 because I know I need to spend $3,000 to hit the 10,000 at 3x, or 3.3x total ROAS. This is, tacos, 33% tacos. And then after my organic rank improves and I improve my conversion rate a little bit, I can probably drop it down to, 2,000 or 3,000, and I'm getting 15,000 or 14,000 or 13,000 in revenue. That's the way that I would reverse engineer it. That's how you should budget for PPC. Now, how much revenue you should make is also a function of your inventory. So how much inventory do you have in stock? If my goal is 500, I should have at least 2 months of inventory, and inventory arriving when I have like a month left. So if I have 1,000 units in stock and I'm going to sell 500 units that month, then I need to know that, okay, I need to order now, because by the time like the month goes by, production is done, and they've sent it out. Or you could be like, I can't afford that, because if I order right now, the earliest that I'm gonna get my inventory is in 75 days. If I go to $500, 500 units a month, that's gonna run out in 60 days. So I can only do 300 units a month, because that's gonna last me 90 days, and by 75 days I'll be replenished. So then you're like, okay, 300 is the new goal, which is, let's say, 9,000, 8,000, whatever. And then, based on that, if 8,000 is your goal, then you need to work towards maybe 1,500 in ad spend, or maybe 2,000, 2,500, and then work back down to 1,500. That's the way that I think about it. It's a factor of how much inventory, when you're going to get more inventory, how much can you scale, and then working backwards, you're like, okay, based on my current conversion rate and based on my revenue goal, this is how much I have to spend to make that money. It's like saying like, oh, I want to hit $1 million. Well, if your total ROAS is 4x right now, you need to spend $250,000 in ads. Divide that by 12, 20K a month. That's how much you should be spending in ads. If you're spending 4K a month, you're not going to hit $1 million in revenue. And it's not going to be like, I'm only going to spend 25K if I can get this ROAS. It's going to be like, you're going to spend it and you're not going to get that ROAS. Then you're going to have to figure it out and become efficient with that budget to hit that, number 100K or whatever, or 85K at 25K, 25,000 in ad spend a month. So sorry, that's the logic. Sorry if I was a little bit long-winded.
No, that's perfect. I think, there's a lot of different answers to this question. So I appreciate your answer. And then I guess my question would be, can you be conservative and still win big like that? Or do you have to be willing to take some big risks?
No, you don't have to take big risks, but
Yeah.
you're always, whenever you're scaling, you're always gonna lose before you win. It's always like that. So if I'm spending $10,000, let's say $1,000 a day right now with someone, I'm gonna tell them, if we want to, 1.5 times your revenue, I'm gonna have to go to $1,500 a day first. It's not gonna be profitable first, and you have to be willing to withstand that for a while until we figure out, okay, that $500 extra that we're spending. Initially, we launched a bunch of campaigns, we did some stuff. 100 of it was efficient, 400 was, we discovered like 200 was whatever, and the other 200 was bad, and we had to kill those. And so then another week or two goes by, and now we're at 250 efficient spend, and 250 not good. Now we're at 350 efficient, and now we're at 500 efficient. And it takes a while. So you always have to, put the money up first, be willing to lose it, investing in learning which keywords are working, which keywords are not working, and then you're gonna reap the benefit of, okay, now I want to 1.5x my ad spend. And sometimes 1.5xing your ad spend, you get to a like that top peak, and that peak, it used to be you're getting a 6x ROAS. Now you can only get a 5.2x ROAS, but that's fine because your total dollar amount in profit is probably higher. And so that's the main guiding thing is the profit. So I'm not gonna say you have to like go hard and go from 1,000 to 3,000 a day, but like you have to put up the money first, lose the money, learn, because the only way to learn is you spend the money and you figure out what works and what doesn't work, and then it's an iteration loop. And it's gonna take you longer if you go from 1,000 to 1,100, and it's gonna be faster if you go from 1,000 to 1,500. That's it.
Definitely. We have another hello from LinkedIn. Hello. And then, hi, Mina. How do you run Amazon PPC for vendors if they don't own the buy box because they wholesale to other sellers who then sell on the same listings?
Yeah, you can't do it. You have to have the buy box. If you don't own the buy box, nothing really works. So that's why the buy box is the biggest thing ever. And I think, like, when you lose the buy box, it supposedly your ads stop working, but a lot of times we suspect that the ads still work. They just, someone else gets the sale. So the only way to do that is to have a strategy to win the buy box. So if you wholesale to other sellers who are on the same listing, number one, try and beat them on price. And if you can't, because they're going against your minimum advertised price rules that you've set for them, because some people are assholes, and they think they're not going to get caught, then use the transparency program. And it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. You have to sticker every single product that goes to Amazon, but then you can get rid of all of these resellers if you don't want them. If you want the resellers, and because some people, I'm like, can we kick all the resellers? They're like, no, these are big vendors and we want to keep them happy. I'm like, okay, cool. Tell them that they can't advertise under a certain price point. Get it in writing, get it legal. Get a lawyer involved and go after every single company. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's my answer to this.
Okay. You got to protect yourself, right? First and foremost. Then I had a difficult time launching my brand, and it's been over 3 months with little sales. I have really good reviews. Should I create a new listing, or can my old listing still rank?
No, if you burnt your honeymoon phase, it's probably going to be very difficult. If you have really good reviews, I would launch a variation, even if it's just the exact same product. I would launch it a variation under that listing so that it pulls the reviews, and then send new inventory, and then use that one, and from day one, push it really hard with ads. And if you, because the honeymoon phase is very, very critical. If it's 3 months and you have very little sales, it's usually not going to turn around, and it's going to be very painful. But from day one, you'll notice if you spend $100, $200 a day, you're making, $200, $300 a day in sales. And so you're able to influence your sales very quickly. And if you start with reviews already, because of it's a variation, you're going to have a lot more success. So that's what I would do.
Yeah. And sometimes this variation can just be like adding a sticker to it or something, or adding a little like bonus kind of trinket to the listing. I think you will need a new G10 to do that. But
yeah,
I think
you need a new UPC code.
Yeah, they run for like $30, I think, for like a single one. Just buy. So pretty straightforward.
And you just have to resticker them with the new FN SKUs.
Yeah.
But honestly, I mean, it's worth it, because if it's 3 months and you have a little sales, it's pretty much it's not going to get that much better.
Yeah.
I've done it, like hard work, energizer. So I had 4 products. Now I only have 3. I have the powders, the regular powders, unflavored blue raz and mango pineapple. And I launched energizer, and I didn't launch it as a variation, and I launched it, and I wanted it to be kind of like I'm not going to launch it as a variation. I'm going to launch it on its own, but I'm going to launch it profitably, because I'm good now at Amazon and all this shit. And then I didn't spend that much money on it. And literally 2 years later, I killed it, I think 2 or 3 months ago. And I looked, and literally one month it was negative $10 in profit. The next month it was $15 in profit. The other month it was negative 25. The other month it was $35 in profit. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wasting my time on this product? And this is 2 years of me. I'm not like a whatever. I not really know what I'm doing. Like, I had the team work on it. We had optimized listing. We had good reviews. We had 800 reviews, 4-star, 800 reviews, 4-star. And yeah, I couldn't even turn a profit. So it's like, just nail the honeymoon phase. Your life is going to be super easy.
Definitely. And just as a review, honeymoon phase is usually 15 days, right? The first 2 weeks to like a month after you launch a product, give or take.
Yeah, say something like around a month,
Yeah.
15 to 45 days. No one really knows. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then kind of a personal question from Mina. So how did you start your career as a PPC manager? What was your inspiration? Looks like Mohammed's an engineer as well.
I love it. So the grind, Mohammed. Basically, my inspiration was, I just wanted to start a supplement brand, because after, I was in 4 different roles as an engineer, and it's just like from one thing to the next. It would be very nice in the first 6 months, and then it just gets boring and repetitive, and everyone around you is not exciting to work with. And so I'm an MMA fighter. I love supplements. I started working out when I was 15 years old, so I was a huge fan of supplements, and I knew that I could make a better supplement than everyone else. And so I made the supplement first, and then I figured, like, let me try and sell it. I didn't know how it was going to work. I didn't know anything about e-commerce. I just bought stuff on Amazon. I sometimes bought stuff on like DSP or whatever, not Amazon DSP, but DPS Nutrition and stuff like that, bodybuilding.com. But I had no idea how to get in there or any of that stuff. And every time I tried, like I tried bodybuilding, I was shut down. I tried to go to the different stores, and they're like, give us 2 and we'll let you know if people buy them, and if they don't, we're not going to call you back. No one ever called me back. All of the gyms that I talked to said, we're not really set up to sell supplements, so we can't take your product. And I struck out with everything. And one day, honestly, this is what happened. One day I was at a MMA event, and I had a booth, and this was like my soft launch of the product. And everyone asked me, like, where can I buy this? And my friend lied and said it's going to be on Amazon soon. And that's like the reason that I got into Amazon. And I started figuring, I'm like, okay, I have to figure this out. Like, how can it be done? I started watching YouTube videos. I called Amazon like 50 times. They showed me how to, like how to do it. They're like, here's how you can sign up for a seller account. Then I got my products on there. Then actually the reason that I became good at PPC was because I was so bad at PPC, and I offloaded it, and I gave it to a software company. I gave it to a PPC manager that I found on Upwork or Fiverr. I can't remember. And each one of them ruined my account. Like, I would be doing it, and I didn't know much. I was doing it bad, and they ruined, software. I was going from like $200 a day and spend $800 a day in sales. They made it $600 a day and spend $400 a day in sales. I'm like, what the hell, And PPC Manager, same thing. He made this massive mess of my campaigns and all this stuff. And so then I'm like, okay, I can't rely on people. This seems like it's the 2 things that were the most sensitive to my business was reviews and like, besides the product being good and being shipped out, to Amazon in good condition, and it's a good product. It was reviews, and it was PPC. So I'm like, that I'm gonna focus on that stuff. And so I started like, looking at the bulk sheets, and it was very like difficult to digest initially. And I started understanding them, and I started like doing these little tests, and I was just watching. I would like watch someone on YouTube, or talk to someone from Amazon, talk to another agency, and I would implement what they taught me. And I would test it out. And I found that some people knew what they were talking about. Some people, they didn't know what they're talking about. Like, have 3 ad groups, broad, phrase, exact. That was bad idea, because the budget started splitting unevenly. So I started keeping it clean. And all of these things I learned by practice. And, I started getting the hang of it. And I think it took me about 7 or 8 months until I was really, really good at PPC, better than like 99% of the people on Amazon. And so that's how I got into it. And so, I didn't start my career as a PPC manager. I just started my career as trying to build my own brand. And then sharing what worked for me, because I wanted to people were getting hurt. Basically, someone would put up there, you should do this campaign, that campaign, and I'm like, okay, I don't think that's true. This is what I did and this is what happened. And then people really liked that because I was testing things and giving them the results, so they didn't have to go through the testing. And that's how kind of it started. There was a lot of demand, like, please run my brand, please run my brand, for over, I think, from 2019 till 2021. I told people, no, I only do my own brand. No, I only do my own brand. And then finally, I'm like, dude, what am I doing? Everyone wants me to run their PPC, and other people are running it and they're destroying. I had a friend, literally, like, she was crying to me because she gave her PPC to a different agency, and they destroyed it. And she's like, please, I'll do anything for you. And she was like one of my first clients, my first 3 clients. I didn't charge her money.
Okay. So given, your history, with offloading PPC to others and that kind of thing, is that why maybe at Trivium you don't use like automation? Or I mean, do you feel like there's more pressure now to be using AI and everything like that with the chat GPTs? Or
AI and chat GPT and all that stuff is still, when it comes to Amazon, is still not like optimized for that, because the way that our team looks at it now, when do I recommend some automation, right? To put guardrails. And this is like, you have to be very careful with the guardrails. We are okay using a software if, number one, it sends us alerts, easy, right? Doesn't touch anything. Number two, if a keyword spends a certain amount of money that we know, like if it spent $35 and no sales, like for sure it should be killed. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it spends money and you don't know, maybe it did make a sale, but it was counted as organic. We don't know. So if it's like a certain amount of spend and no sales, just like these very little, or the ACoS is like, okay, if ACoS is 180 and 180%, and it only got 1 sale or 2 sales, definitely lower the bid, but because you don't want it to be like, oh, the ACoS is 120 and it drove 30% of your revenue. It lowers the bid, boom, your revenue's down, your profit's down. Why? I thought, well, you were optimizing a keyword, but the data that Amazon was giving you was wrong in terms of ACoS, and was actually driving so much sales on the organic side. So anyways, that's when I would use it. But the way that we look at, kind of an account is, let's look at the listing. Let's look at the different keywords. Every single keyword is looked at differently. What's our objective? Our objective today is scaling. Okay, cool. If our objective is scaling, I'm going to go in. I'm going to look at all of our opportunities to scale. I'm going to look at the search query performance report, which can't be fed into, an AI. And if you download it still and feed it into AI, there's so much training around. Look at conversion rates. Look at competitors. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. The technology is still not there yet. I would love if it was there. I would love if it was there, because then you can just say, bring all of this stuff and put it in one place for me to review, and then tell me what decisions you're going to make and let me review it, then review your logic, and then I'll approve it. Cool, that's an amazing AI, but nothing's there yet. So for you to let an AI automatically make changes for you, definitely not guaranteed. Not recommended. Also, it makes 1,000 changes. You can't review 1,000 changes. When we make changes, we make 30. Like, okay, we're trying to scale. Perfect. Let's launch 10 new campaigns, total of like 30, 40 keywords. And let's increase the bids across 25 different keywords. Cool. I can check every day those changes and see what happened. I can look at it. I can look at my sessions increasing. I can look at my total revenue increasing. I can look at my total profit impact. I can do that as a human. An automation, is it going to be 1,000 changes? And it's like, oh, well, the AI can process all this data at once. I'm like, you don't know what it's processing. You don't even know what it's processing, because if it's like,
or how it's doing it, or
yeah, it's processing so many things at once. Like, how can you even check? You're a human. You can't check after an AI. So how can you guarantee that it's doing a good job? Unless it's like, okay, like, let's blindly trust that it's going to make me more revenue. But I've blindly trusted like a very big company's AI, and they called it a flywheel, whatever they called it back in the day, and it destroyed my stuff. So I'm not saying all AI is bad. I'm just saying, like, it's your job as the business owner to do your due diligence and check after every change that's being done, especially with something as sensitive as PPC.
Exactly. Extreme ownership, right, of your own account. It's not everybody else's fault. At the end of the day, it's your brand,
Yeah.
Good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida, from Kevin. Hello.
Hello.
And then from Karen, so advice on how to run ads and what ads to make for clients that are top sellers in their niche, but the client wants to expand market share while also having a high ROAS, specific ads to run, etc. So I think this is more of a question of like what happens when you outgrow your niche. Are there other places like you should be going and that kind of thing?
Yeah. So any good business owner knows that expanding market share and high ROAS will never be in the same sentence. So you're either expanding your market share or you want a high ROAS. Pick one. That's the first thing. Second thing is expanding market share. The first thing that I would look at is keyword opportunities. Like if we're just talking PPC, I'll talk about DSP in a second. So the first thing that I'm looking for is where are my opportunities? I'll run a data dive. I'll look at all of my competitors and see, where do I have gaps in keywords? Like where are keywords that I could be ranking for? And again, all of these are going to be keywords that you're going to test. So you tell them, you're like, listen, what is your, and not ROAS, but what is your bottom profit that you're willing to take? So right now you're making $50,000 a month in profit. Are you willing to go down to 45 for me to fuck around and find different keywords that are going to work, like to expand your market share? And they'll be like, okay, cool, I could do that. You're not going to go from 50 to 55 while expanding market share. It doesn't work that way. You're first going to try and expand market share, find what works, and then backtrack and keep what works and kill what doesn't. So then from there, that this is your bottom in profit. You start spending where I'm going after. Data dive for sure. I want to look at my search query performance report. Where do I have high conversion share, low impression share? Are there any opportunities there? I'll run every single keyword and I'll look at my sponsored rank for every single keyword and I'll see where are gaps. Where can I go from a position 10 to a 1? Or maybe a 4. Even sometimes position 4 is better than position 1 because and then the second thing that I would do is I would go and I would look at brand analytics and look at the click share. And Helium 10 does this phenomenally. I'm going to post a video on YouTube on my channel, Bradley, showing this. But you can go and you can take your competitors and you can look at the click share and see at the keywords which positions get the certain number of click share. And then based on that, you can say, okay, for these keywords, I need to be in these positions to get this level of click share. And you start going after those keywords. That's in terms of what you can do on the sponsored ads side. When it comes to DSP, and I think DSP is much more powerful at expanding market share, what I do is I'll build the funnel from the bottom up. If they don't have DSP, that's the biggest lever they can pull. Quran, let me know if they have DSP or not. I would start at the bottom. So everyone who's purchased their product in the last 365 days, but hasn't purchased their product or their competitor's product in the last 90 days. All right. So if it's a recurring, if it's something you can buy again, like a supplement or a coffee or cosmetics, whatever. Then I move up to cross-selling. Who's purchased one of my products but hasn't purchased my other product or that other product's competitors in the last 90 days, or if it's a one-time product, last year. Let's go after that. So now we're cross-selling. Then we go up to competitor targeting. Competitor targeting is there's two types that I'm going to go after. The first one is everyone who's purchased my competitors in the last year but has not purchased me in the last year, or has not viewed my page but has not also purchased my competitors in the last, let's say, 90 days or whatever, 120 days. Let's go after those people. They've purchased once, they haven't repurchased, they should purchase me. Then I go after everyone who's viewed my competitors but has not viewed me or purchased me, or has not purchased my competitors. Then I move up one more, which is complementary products. So, where can I find, like, okay, I'm selling like a coffee, like a keto coffee creamer. Yeah, I can go after the coffee market, but I can also go after the keto market. Everyone who's bought ketones, or everyone who's bought ketone BHB, or everyone who's bought ketone strips, or everyone who's bought something that has any relation to keto. So I'll go after everyone who's purchased those products in the last 30 to 60 days, but has not purchased me or my competitors in the last 90 days. So again, I'm going after people who are in this market, but they haven't purchased anyone in my market. And I think that's enough. Honestly, like, you can go above that. You can do an audience overlap report in DSP and find where your audience overlaps. So people who've purchased one product, what other markets are they in? And then you can start doing in market. So maybe someone who purchased, your keto creamer is in the market, like it has an 85% intersection in the market of electrolytes. So you start going after the electrolytes market. And again, all you're doing is you're trying to get someone to click, because the second that they click, you start retargeting them with your DSP. So yeah, that's basically how I would run the funnel. The two of those should greatly increase your market share. Also, another big lever that you can pull if you want to increase market share is to, and I hope that you're tracking market share on Helium 10 market tracker. But if you want to increase your market share, improve your conversion rate. So I use Prophecy, Profasee, Prophecy AI. They're an AI price testing tool. So they change your price many times to try and get you the maximum profit. And they do it, throughout the day, every day. So that's one thing that I would do. A second thing is obviously, if you have negative reviews, you can implement a QR code insert card that prevents those. You can also come up with some very attractive opt-in for your QR code to get people's emails. Once you have people's emails, you can start email marketing to them, get reviews, get them to be, second time purchases. That will increase their market share. What else? And then, you should be split testing main image, rest of images, A+ content. All of those things can help. Even 1% increase in your conversion rate, 0.1 increase percent in your click-through rate can have a significant impact if you're that big in the market.
Definitely. And some of this too is just being spatially aware, I feel like, too. So, knowing, culturally, like what's going on or what people are searching for, and if your products relate. I'll give you an example. We have a clothing brand that we managed. Over the last few weeks, we created like a Barbie campaign for them, right? So any like pink items that they had in their catalog, we positioned for that. So that's sometimes how we create value for clients who have been with us for a really long time, who maybe have all of the really hyper relevant keywords, and we're already going after those. Trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit and finding, places that you're still relevant, where it still makes sense for you to be, and you can kind of expand from there as well.
Totally. I love that. I love the Barbie campaign too. Very
Yeah,
good idea. Yeah, I think jumping on trends is huge for sure.
definitely. Okay. From Steele, I saw a dress for sale for $2.99 with $20 shipping. Is this a good business model considering how much Amazon fees are? Oh man,
No, that's not a good business model.
this is
That
like
is
some
like
like Shein, like
that's a hacky business model, and I don't know. It's not a good business model. It's not good business. Like, good business is your product is in the search results better than everyone else's product. It's not like everyone's $10 or $15 and you're $30. Like, that's all. Yeah, it's not a long-term strategy.
definitely. And then we got a super sticker from Time Warp Custom Paint, $4.99. Thank you. It's like a little tip, YouTube tip.
Oh, very
Yeah,
cool.
that's what that is.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then, how many keywords should I have in an exact match campaign?
I don't like to go over 5 keywords max. So, but again, it could depend. If you have very high search volume keywords, you might want to limit it to 1, 2, or 3. What I would do is go into your ad group and then sort by spend or sales or clicks or whatever, and you'll see, like, okay, if 1 or 2 are dominating and the rest are not really getting that much attention, they're not getting that many sales, you might as well pause them and put them in their own campaign so they can get more of a budget. But the general rule of thumb is do not exceed 5.
Yeah, because they're the most expensive, usually, those keywords. Do you go over 5 for other types of campaigns, like phrase or
No,
broad? No?
no, I never go over 5. I just every time I've gone over 5, I just feel like the position 6, 7, 8, they just don't get that much attention. And I'm like, okay, the position number 8 could be a really good keyword that if I put it in its own campaign can generate me like 5 times more sales. So, adding too many, I wish like you could set the budgets on a keyword level, and like life would be easy, man. Like then you just have these big like one campaign, and then you'd have like all these different ad groups that sort the different types of keywords or whatever, and then each keyword would have a bid and a budget, and then you adjust the bid and the budget for each keyword based on its performance. Like dream come true.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we'll have to invent that next. Maybe
I'm
I
talking
will.
to the developer at Amazon that does the bulk sheet updates, and he's asking me, he's like, "What updates do you want to see on the bulk sheets?" And so I'm giving him as much feedback as I can. I'm like, I would like to have the search terms in the bulk sheet so we can negative right there, and we can extract like immediately extract from the bulk sheet right into launching our own campaigns. Because then you wouldn't have to like cross check, like, is this a keyword that's currently being targeted, like this is a search term, and is it there, is it like in broad phrase or exact max, or is it like discovered as a search term in broad or something like that. So anyways, yeah, that's besides the point.
From David, we have a lot of SKUs and managing all the campaigns and keywords is overwhelming. Any suggestions to avoid overload? So I think that kind of goes back to our previous question, right?
Yeah, David, I'd love to hear a little bit more because I'm going to ask you a couple things. How many parent ASINs do you have? For me, I like to consider parent ASINs as are the only products. Variations, I lump them all inside the parent ASIN. The reason is I'm just looking to run ads on whichever variation is going to drive the most traffic for those keywords, which means has the best CTR. Cool. Okay, so David, you said 50 plus. And then out of those 50, how many of them drive 85% of your revenue? A lot of the times we have 50 plus ASINs or something like that. Like when we manage accounts with like 50 ASINs, whatever, we look at it as we're an investor, and if I put $1 down, or if I only had $1, or $100 that I could invest, where am I going to put it so I get the highest return on investment? And that's what drives my decisions. And usually it's like the top 4, 5, 6, max, maybe max 8 are the ones that if I put my $100 there, they're going to bring me the biggest return. That's where I focus a lot of my energy and attention. For all of the other yeah, so generally say 10. So yeah, 10 is very manageable. So that's where I would put all of my energy and attention. The other 40, you can keep it pretty simple. You can launch campaigns, you can have auto broad phrase exact on the top, 5 keywords per campaign, do the top 50 keywords. It'll be 30 probably 35 campaigns max per each. That should give you a lot of coverage. You don't have to do all 35. You can probably start with 5 or 10 for each one. So for the 40 is going to be 400. But again, I'm going to get to the point where it gets like easy to manage. So for those 400 campaigns that are, you're looking for maintenance. So basically what you're doing is you're going into the bulk sheet and you're saying, okay, I'm looking to eliminate anything that's wasted spend. So you go into the bulk sheet, you delete the top 10 ones which were focused on like deeply, and then you just sort all of the keywords and search terms in groups, like anything that has a high ACoS, anything that has a certain amount of spend and no sales. And then you just go in and you can lower all the bids for all of that. Then you go into the search term report and you're like, okay, show me everything with a high ACoS, and like 1 sale or less, or 0 or 1 sales. And then, or it has to be 1 sale, so maybe 1 or 2 sales. And then anything that has a certain amount of spend and no sales. And then you just add it negative. And you're just trying to keep those keywords at bay, those ASINs at bay. Like I would rotate them. So I'd say, okay, let's take a couple of them, launch a few campaigns, but then you'd have this weekly waste elimination process. So weekly waste elimination, it should not take you more than 30 minutes to an hour for all of the 40, even if it's 400 campaigns, because you're running the same rules across all of them. It might be different for different products. Like, these products you're allowed to spend this much money, these products you're allowed to spend that much money. You can easily build something like that with a developer. So you just go find a Google Sheets developer, say, I'm going to put the bulk sheet, and then I'm going to put this criteria for each, like it's going to pull all of the child ASIN, or sorry, all of the parent ASINs, and you're going to put a criteria for, lower the bids by this much for each one of them, and lower, at whatever, like, just the different criteria for the different ASINs, and then click a button and it will run all those rules. It's like less brain power, because you're just trying to maintain those ASINs. You're not really aggressively going after growth for those ASINs, because we already agreed that if you want to grow, you put your $100 in the top 10, and then the top 10, you follow what, the stuff that I talk about, which is like, you're trying to go after market share. You're identifying, setting up a budget, going after all of the keywords that you can go after within that budget, finding what works, keeping it, finding what doesn't work, replacing it, scaling what works, and rinse and repeat, and try to get as much market share as possible.
Yeah, I think we have time for a few more questions before we wrap up. So I like this one. How do you make changes to bids following a high season like Prime Day? The data isn't going to be accurate since the conversion rate was higher due to Prime Day.
Perfect. So 3 days before Prime Day, we download the bulk sheet and we save it. And then like from 3 days, like before Prime Day, all the way to 1 day after Prime Day, we lower our bids by at least 30%, 30, maybe sometimes 40% across the board. The idea is we want to get as many sales as we can organically, not through paid ads. Because if we spend money on paid ads, we're gonna blow through all of our profit that we made in Prime Day. And then the second, like that 1 day after Prime Day is over, we'll upload the exact same bulk sheet as the one that we saved 3 days before Prime Day, and then we won't optimize anything, and we'll wait, for 5 days, and we'll start optimizing after like 1 day post Prime Day. That's the way that we go about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And, from an organic standpoint, I know all of, from our clients, we downloaded the Search Query Performance Report for just that week of Prime Day. Those results didn't come out until like the Thursday of the following week, because there's just so much data.
Yeah.
But just to see, what were people searching differently, like during that time that was different from what you're used to seeing, right? Like where there's some potential opportunities, and obviously not every day is going to be a Prime Day and that kind of thing, but where can you hold on to some of that, traffic, right? And we do the same thing for, when clients get, have viral events, or they go viral on TikTok or something, they get picked up by a publication. You just kind of have to find the opportunities where you can. So, okay. So I think that was the last question. So we can do a little wrap up. So thank you again, Mina, for joining me on the podcast. It was nice to meet you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. Hopefully we answered a lot of questions and helped a lot of people, and excited to do this again. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy, kind of answering people's questions, and because I know a lot of the times this is like difficult, and, I live and breathe this stuff. So I'm always happy to kind of provide insights on all of this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So everybody, please go visit Trivium. If there's anything you want to plug, you definitely can.
Oh yeah.
Banner.
Yeah. We do like a full like audit and strategy. It's about 30 to 45 minutes of a Loom video. We'll go through your account. We'll tell you everything that you need to do to fix everything, right? Like, so you don't even have to hire us or anything like that. It's just free value. We'll go through your listing, go through your campaigns, talk about your campaign structure, campaign names, budgets, your ad groups, search terms that you should launch, search terms you should, negative, do a data dive, identify all of, keywords that you should be going after, all of this stuff. So yeah, just go to triviumco.com and you'll see it right there. It says get a free audit, and happy to do it.
Yeah, and on the same kind of note, we have John Aspinall tomorrow, who does the ASIN reviews. So if you submit some ASINs for him to look at, he does a deep dive on those landing pages and main images, bullets, descriptions, titles. He does it all. So tune into that tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, and then Friday we have the general podcast with Jason, and that's just for anything Amazon related, could be PPC or catalog, troubleshooting, anything like that. So thank you
Love
again
it.
for joining us.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Marissa. We'll definitely be doing this again soon.
Hope so. Hope to see you soon. All right. Bye,
Awesome.
guys.
Bye, guys.